So welcome to the Reload podcast. My name is Pepe. I'm one of the guys from Reload. As you may know, on the Reload podcast, we bring down different people, different organizations, different brands, and have a chat with them to find out how they can help young musicians, independent musicians. This week is no different, and today we have Rob Lewis from Unsigned. Hey, Rob.
Hey, how are you doing?
Really good, thanks. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thought we would bring you down and just have a chat about Unsigned, learn a little bit more about what you guys do, and how it could be real value to some of the artists that we work with. So first up, I was wondering if you could kind of tell us about your role within Unsigned, and then kind of explain a little bit more what exactly Unsigned is.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so my job title is CEO of Unsigned. So I guess that means I'm the in charge guy, but also the cleaner as well. So yeah, Unsigned was started by Julian Richer. He's the founder and managing director of Richer Sounds. And it was started about 4 years ago. And Julian's really passionate about music, and he's a keen drummer and stuff. He has his own band and everything. And he made his fortune from selling hi-fi, which of course is worthless without music. Right. So he felt that he wanted to give something back, and having had some experience with his own band of gigging and how hard it was to sort of get recognition, he decided that he could sort of use the powers that he's built up through Richer Sounds, the customer base and the sort of vast network of shops, to sort of give new artists exposure using the brand basically, and the connections that built up over the years. Right.
And am I right in saying that Richer Sounds is a UK-based store? Is it?
Yeah, Richer Sounds is UK only. I think it's a shop or two in Ireland as well, but UK only. But the Richer Unsigned is a not-for-profit, so it's separate to Richer Sounds in the sense that our agenda is not to make any money from emerging artists or tie them into any kind of contracts or anything like that. It's just purely a platform to act as a springboard, really, to give them more exposure.
I was on your website yesterday, and I know that's one thing that is really clear, that you mention quite a few places on your website that you're not there to make a profit off artists, or you're not there to do anything shady. You just want to kind of give them that platform.
And we're in a position where, a very fortunate position, really, in that this Richer Sounds is a successful business, and it has partnerships with well, not partnerships, but it sells products of many different manufacturers and brands, and those are massive brands, from Samsung, turning over billions, and to Panasonic, and all these different companies, and they're in a fortunate position in the way that everybody in music is trying to align with brands, and we're able to take a slightly different route in that, we already have those relationships, years long, built up, and teams in place which nurture those relationships within the company, and Richer Sounds is an important part of those companies' business, because they're selling their products. Right. So we're, as a business, selling their products, and that's important.
Sure. So I mean, so it sounds that you guys have have a deep history in the kind of audio industry, which is always going to help when you're putting stuff together. But so what exactly is it, if you had to sum up what you guys do for independent artists, how would that be? So
we have a few things. We have a monthly playlist which is curated by different people, so we get a special guest each month to do that. So we've had Alice Levine from Radio 1, we've had Jack Savoretti, we've had Newton Faulkner, we've had all kinds of different artists and publications, we've had Absolute Radio, a whole variety of people within the music industry, from performers to DJs to publications. And the idea is to get a different voice for each month, so that we're not following a completely similar genre and specific take on that. And I think we think that's important, because it could just be my personal taste in music, which might be questionable, and it's good to get a different sort of thing. And you can't be into every kind of music. So for me, I've never been into metal particularly, but we've had people like Alex Baker from Kerrang who've curated a few things, and then that's cool, because then we can open it up, and shouldn't be my taste. It shouldn't be like my vision. It should be that this platform is there to help lots of people. So we have these curators pick their favorite 10 bands each month, And then we have a continually growing Spotify and Deezer playlist, which we play in this like 53 stores around the UK. Wow. We publicise in the UK, and we also send out the 1.5 million approaching online customer base for Richer Sound. So that's on weekly mail shots that go out.
Right. And that's the playlist? Is
and that's correct? The playlist. And then we also have an Artist of the Week feature as well. So we have the 10 bands featured on the playlist each month, and then we have a regular sort of updated Artist of the Week, which is blogged about, and we kind of review it, I guess. And then add that to the playlist as well. And that's kind of like the core of what happens. We've also recently started. We've been really fortunate, and we share an office with Cambridge Audio,
right?
Who a fantastic audio brand, and they've just gutted the ground floor of our building and turned it into a venue, which is
cool,
which is amazing, and it's a superb venue. It's like, for me, it's like one of the best, 200 capacity venues in London, without a doubt.
Whereabouts in London is this?
It's London Bridge, so you have to come and see it, because it's fantastic. It's it sounds great, it looks great, it's got no weird pillars in the middle that you can't see the stage, and it's kind of really fortunate, and they've obviously got an engineering department who can make tweaks very, very quickly.
Right.
So we're really lucky to have that great relationship with them, and so we use that space to put on a monthly session as well for 2 bands each month to sort of perform 3 tracks.
And how do you pick those bands?
So we once we have the playlist of the 10 months, we pick favourite 2 bands who are going to sort of we think will work well together and sort of provide a sort of good I guess juxtaposition of styles in a way, so it's not too samey, but we're fortunate we have like an inbuilt audience in the building as well.
Oh, cool. So it's always full up.
Yeah, so we always come. So everyone comes down. You guys are more than welcome to the next one.
I'd love to.
Yeah, and it's brilliant, because the hardest thing is getting people to unsigned gigs, right? So we can have the audience inbuilt, and then also invite other people, so music industry and press and stuff like that. So and the idea of that is also to create content as well. So we film those sessions, and we have them mixed by Emre Ramazanoglu, who's a fantastic mix engineer who's just mixed Noel Gallagher's album and everything else, and he's an awesome guy. And so we get these fantastic sounding videos and
where could we watch these videos?
So they're on YouTube, and they're on our website, so richunsigned.com, and then our YouTube channel is also Richer Unsigned, and we've done 3, I think, so it's 6 videos so far, and we're doing them monthly. So that's kind of new content that we're creating, and that's going to be played on the TVs around Richer Sounds in the UK as well. So.
Wow. So let me get this straight, and please do correct me if I've got the details wrong. So if an artist features on one of your playlists, that playlist will be played in 51 stores around the UK.
Yeah, 53,
53, sorry.
That's right.
Which is huge. And then if they're invited to perform in the show, the videos that are created from that will be played on TVs as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we're further boosting those videos as well, and on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. And we're also sending those videos out to the 1.5 million Richer Sounds customers. So that's
massive. So there's a terrific amount of
So it's a really good opportunity to kind of get on board, and we're not so. I guess we're kind of different in a way that everyone's chasing the next big thing, right? So a lot of people are kind of looking for a band that gets success, and then they're like, look, we discovered them. For me, that's not massively our agenda. We're like more about just kind of generally supporting bands who are doing good things. So for us, as long as the music's good, it's cool. We're not necessarily looking at people's SoundCloud hits and YouTube hits and who's an agent and who's a manager. That for me is irrelevant, because it can change like this, right? And and it only takes one song to go big, and you never know how that's going to happen. And if anyone says they do know how that happens, they're kind of lying, because it happens in a different way every single time. And if you ask any manager who's established, there's no formula. It's just you try a lot of things. It's like starting a new business, and you try a lot of things, and one thing sticks. And you repeat that process, but it might not be the same thing each time for each artist, because everybody's different, right? And So our agenda really is just to support good music and hardworking artists and people who look like they're really committed to doing to sort of having a career in music, and that's really our aim. And we pay people for those shows. We make sure that every time we have people performing, we remunerate them financially because we think that that's important as well.
That's fantastic. You don't hear that often.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument about exposure, but I've never been to co-op and able to pay with my exposure card. So you have to. everyone has to pay for their groceries, right? So we feel that that's important to compensate people for their time, and we have this kind of living wage idea where we pay each band member £10 an hour for their time, and we'd love to be able to pay £10,000, but we feel that that's obviously relating to the stage of the career, and so it's something which we think is fair, and we're paying for people's travel and people's time, and able to justify it in a way that makes sense as opposed to just giving some cents.
And then on top of that, there is the fact of your music has just been played in all the stores.
Yeah.
Plus, it's about to get played with the videos. Is that something? Does that come back to them in terms of PRS or?
Yeah. So we're not doing any PRS dodge. I know there's a lot of companies out there who are using new music to bypass the PRS and everything else, which just sounds as a PRS license, as a commercial license in the way that it should. And those artists who are registered with PRS, it'll be collected in the same way that it would if it was played in any other store. So stores don't account in quite the same way. It's more done on a kind of percentage basis. So that's something to kind of chat to the PRS about probably, but we're not doing anything funny by avoiding any license fees or anything like that. It's funny, I get asked that question quite a lot.
Yeah?
Really? Yeah.
And how long is each playlist in circulation for?
So we just build it because people who are working in the stores obviously are there all day and to have the same song,
the same 10 songs.
I mean, they just would not play it in the end.
Yeah.
So what we do is we end up building up a playlist. So actually, we don't clear the playlist.
Okay.
We just build it up so it becomes, we have something like 7 hours of music playing, and that's cool because if you're working in the store, then you don't have to hear the same song every hour. But
if there's a song that you really like,
and we do get, but they can always rewind it because our systems are, I think, in the store running mainly on Sonos,
right?
And so they have access to whatever they want to listen to.
Awesome. I mean, that's really interesting. I think just the fact of hearing the music being played in the stores is such an attractive lure to it. So if
I think it's sorry, just to interrupt. I think that's kind of it makes sense for a brand. It might not, a brand like ours. The way I looked at it was, you have this footprint which is already existing. This infrastructure is already existing, and it's an easy thing to tap into because everyone likes music in those stores because they're hi-fi enthusiasts. People selling, they're like experts in hi-fi, and they're passionate about music as well. So it's an easy sell, really. That might not work for another brand because they might not have the stores and they might not have that kind of customer base who's so interested in music. But looking at it analytically, every brand that's in music kind of needs to tailor their approach slightly differently to make it work and for it to fit in without sort of people just being like, oh, they're just in music to look cool.
Sure.
That's kind of another point. But I mean, we have another element to our Richer Unsigned thing. I don't know if you want me to talk about that.
Absolutely.
We just did our second vinyl release this year. So we celebrate Record Store Day. We've done it for the last 2 years. The first year was curated by Alice Levine. So again, it was a playlist, 10 artists, and she picked her favourite 10. We put it out like that. We pressed, I think, a couple of thousand vinyl, and we gave them that for free in Richer Sound stores around the UK.
Awesome.
And on Berwick Street, we had a pop-up store as well, which was really successful. And this year, we did our second release and built on it. We had Bears Den pick the 11 acts this year, and then they also did a show in St Giles in the Fields Church in Soho, which we teamed up with Dave Stewart Entertainment, who have this Church Keys initiative where they're sort of repurposing old buildings around the UK, not just churches, but synagogues, churches, all kinds of historic buildings which are musicless, and they're filling them with music at the moment. And we like that idea, so we kind of teamed up with them, and we put on this show where Bears Den headlined, and there were 3 bands who supported, who were also featured on the vinyl which we were giving out. So
awesome.
So we're doing that on a yearly basis. We love vinyl, and we love the fact that there's a kind of resurgence of it. Is that a word, resurgence? I just made it up. It is now.
It works.
So that's cool, and it's a nice thing to sort of have a physical product coming out each year as well.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so cool to hear about all of these things that you're doing, the vinyl and the shows, and even the playlists and stores and the videos and the live gig, because those are all great things to add for an artist.
It's like I said, it's a small team, really small. It's basically me, and then there's a great team at Richer Sounds who are in the marketing department, and within the company everyone's really, really behind it. So
sure.
Really lucky, but there's only so many things you can do. So you almost have to build up, you almost have to build up a bit of a kind of opportunities board whereby an artist comes on board and you have these things which are already in place and these partnerships which are already are there, and things like the record store day thing. We teamed up last year with Project. This year we teamed up with Technics, who sponsored the event. And again, that we have the Technics reach and as well for those artists and these relationships with the brands, which I was sort of saying earlier. We're really in a good position with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories of artists who have been featured on one of your kind of platforms who have kind of got back in touch with you and said, "Oh my gosh, wow, that's done"?
Yeah, I mean, we've had like lots of people pick up managers, like high profile managers. We've had bands who've been signed to labels and stuff like that. Like with this stuff, it's important to feel like you're playing a part in it, but it's important to not be so deluded that you're the only part in their journey. So, if we had a band, we've just started those lunchtime sessions. If we had a band whose video suddenly got to 10 million on that session, we could pretty convincingly say that that's that one video has really, really furthered that band's career. Like to think that everything we do does further the career, because the Artist of the Week goes out to 1.5 million people, for example, and so does the playlist. But for us to say, oh, it was us who did that, that's, I can't say that. I can't honestly put my hand up and say that. So I'd say that we're a catalyst in that process. As opposed to kind of just trying to hang on to an artist, their success.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you think is one of the most important elements of what you guys do? Would it be the playlists, or if you could narrow it down to one thing which is really helpful for artists?
Yeah, I mean, with us, it all starts from artists uploading their music. There's no backhanded thing. There's no, it's literally you go to the website and you sign up for free with a SoundCloud link, and it takes a minute.
Right. Do you want to talk me through that? So an artist goes to
richerunsigned.com.
Sure.
They click on submit.
Yeah.
And then they fill in a very short form with a SoundCloud link. They click submit. We get a list of people who've submitted. We go through. We listen to every single one ourselves. And we put aside the ones that we really like into a big list, and then we send those. And every month we have a curator. We send those to curators, and they pick artists from that list. And it might be that some of those artists don't get picked, but they don't get erased from that list because their music's suddenly not. It's just that it didn't align with the taste of that person for that month.
Will they be in line for the next?
Yeah, we keep sending it out and stuff, and so and depending on who it is, we tailor that list to them. So there's if it's going to be a Kerrang playlist, there's no point in sending them necessarily acoustic guitar singer-songwriter stuff. So that's for the next month or for the next curator.
Sure. And how many do you narrow it down? What's the short list? How many songs do you send over to?
So I typically send over 20 to start with, to pick their favourite 10. If they can't pick from that, then I send another 5, and we keep going until they're entirely happy. So I forgot to also say we're partnered with Q Magazine on for Richer Unsigned. So
amazing.
We have the added benefit of them sharing the playlist each month as well. Yeah. Which is really cool, and they're great bunch. So
I wanted to ask about the playlist. How do you because obviously we were saying 7 hours or something like that of music. Is there ever a point where you have to cull the playlist?
Yeah, I mean there will be. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I mean,
how do you make that decision?
I think we just go by the oldest, and I don't think we necessarily cull it. I think we probably categorise it into 2 different playlists so that people could switch between it. That seems like the most fair thing.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think the approach that you guys have, because it's not it's a not-for-profit organisation. There's no kind of financial incentive on your team's site.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do anything.
there's always, there's ways you could easily monetize it, but
Sure.
that's not the agenda. So,
Sure.
And it's not Julian's, never been Julian's agenda, and he's not interested in that.
So how long has Richer Unsigned been running for?
So it's been running for about 4 and a bit years. I joined about 6 months after it first started. And
right.
Yeah, and so I guess I'm coming up to my 4th year there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't, from looking at your website, I didn't quite understand how the upload process worked.
Right. Okay.
So it's really great to have you explain that to me.
So maybe we need to make it clearer.
No, I mean maybe I'm just not the
sharpest
tool in the shed.
We maybe need to review it.
But it sounds like you offer a massive variety of I don't want to say products because they're not products, but platforms, ways to kind of really get an artist to help push their music out forward.
Yeah, and we're always expanding these opportunities. So we have sort of various different partnerships in the pipeline as well to sort of help artists further.
Yeah.
I mean, until they're kind of cemented, there's no point in really talking about them.
Sure.
But we're always sort of exploring new opportunities and stuff like that. So.
And not my final question. One of my last questions: the live shows that you guys do, are those open to anybody? Or
yes, I mean
we
tend to keep it industry focused and stuff like that.
Sure.
But if I guess within reason, it's feel free to send us an email about it.
Awesome. And then how would somebody get in touch? To
you could go to inquiries@richardunsigned.com
cool.
to send an email, and if you know me, you can email me.
and to sign up as an artist, you just go to richardunsigned.com and do it that way. So my final question for you today is, and we ask this for everybody, in your eyes, what makes a successful artist?
For me, it's good songs.
Good songs.
Yeah, I think that you can get obsessed and bogged down with, the business side of it.
Mm.
But fundamentally, the reason why everyone's in music is because they like music, and that's what drives it. And I know that people often feel like they've written great songs and they're not getting the recognition they deserve, and that just comes down to the fact that it's a saturated market. It's like, there's just so many bands, there's so many people out there that's making so much noise. A lot of that noise is, in varying degrees of quality. But like when, if you really focus your craft down to writing great songs, or what, if you're not writing songs, whatever, great music, if it's instrumental, that's fine, but make it exciting, and that's something that lifts your ears when you're listening to as much music as we are. You get a good track and it really stands out, and it's never been easier to record your own music. There's never been more resources about to tell you how to do that, to use Logic, to use Pro Tools, GarageBand, whatever you want. It's never been easier to make that music, and this an infinite amount of tutorials on mixing and production out there for free, it's use them because it makes a difference. You have to think that if there's unsigned artists now on Jules Holland, you know what I mean, and so you're up against that. That's your benchmark.
Sure.
And so if that's the level of production that somebody has on their unsigned stuff, don't think that because you're an unsigned artist it will just happen for you when you get spotted. Make it happen for yourself, and you've got to. It's never been harder, but it's never been easier at the same time to get noticed. It's a funny time because it's the relative merit of labels now is questionable as well. So, like I said, if you can do this stuff without label, you'll make more money.
Yeah.
And if you're in control of your music and you own your product, that's there's people making really good income from streaming, from Spotify, from Deezer, because they own the rights and they're not giving it away to a third party. So be smart with your decisions and be smart with your music, and make the right decisions that work for you, not just now, but for 10 years down the line when you're maybe not 19, but you kind of want to make your life work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So to sum that up, you were saying make good songs, weren't you?
I'd say practice, hone the craft. That's what it comes down to, right?
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you listen to music, you get excited by good music, right? You don't get excited by a good a good artwork and a great list of contacts of email addresses and press quotes. Because if you listen to the music and there's a great load of quotes, if the music's not good and it doesn't connect with you, you're not going to be into it, are you? So
very true.
It comes down to that.
Very true.
that's personally, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we always
And
like
as a
to ask this
creative, and
because-
as creative myself, and you
Sure.
know, and that's kind of something which it's a hard thing to do, but you have to be like hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You have to really push yourself through, and you have
Yeah.
to practice, and you have to write a million songs, and you have to write, you know, write a million tracks, and just work on everything. And if it's not good, you have to be honest and
yeah,
make it work. Yeah.
got to make that call. Cool, Rob. That was really helpful to talk to you. I
Cool.
know that there are so many artists that we work with who would be really interested in signing up.
Yeah, great.
With what you guys do and getting involved.
Lovely.
Somehow.
It's completely free, and you know, the more music we have coming through, the better. Yeah.
So that's www.richardunsigned.com.
richardunsigned.com. Yeah.
Fantastic, Rob. Thank you so much for coming down.
No
It was-
worries,
it was a
pleasure. Thank you
talking
very
to
much.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you, mate.
Cool.